Hi everyone, this is Rachel from MakeShift, and I'm just quickly going to run through our story of change as it stands in October 2024. So, our story starts with people and their creativity. We're a place based project, so we're based in Amber Valley in Derbyshire, and our vision is for Amber Valley to be a place full of makers where everyone's creativity matters as part of everyday life. We start with people and their strengths um, because we think that starting there gives us the greatest potential to kind of achieve our vision. But we also recognize that there are huge amounts of structural and systemic challenges that people face, both kind of as part of global instabilities around kind of social, environmental, and economic challenges, but also around kind of more local challenges that are specific to our place. So these are the kind of foundations of our story. We start with people and their strengths. We kind of move towards our vision, and we recognize that there are certain things that have to be dismantled or challenged if we're going to achieve our vision. um, we see our focus really as trying to create that space for communities, for people to make and do and create what matters to them. So we really think that it matters what people are inside of, and that's kind of where we focus our work, not on doing things or creating kind of outputs, but on creating the conditions for people to do that for themselves. So there are kind of three different ways that we invite people to get involved in our kind of mission. Um, Firstly, we have obviously the communities at the center of everything. We really believe that communities can only be made from the inside out. So we have community makers firmly at the center, people who are doing all sorts of things with their neighbors in the places that they live. Those people are supported by collaborators, so the community groups, the organizations, the venues, the businesses in the local area who create the platforms and the opportunities to celebrate and amplify and make visible what communities want and need. Those people are then inside of a set of relationships with what we call our community allies. And those are people who perhaps sit outside of a community, either regionally or nationally, or perhaps are very sector specific, but that have access to resources, to funding, to knowledge, to expertise, to people who can help a community achieve what it wants and what matters to people in that place. So that's really a kind of huge ecology of different people who all have a role to play, and depending on the context or the position of that of the organization or the person, kind of how they can contribute or what that appropriate contribution looks like, shifts and changes throughout that ecology. So kind of once we've got that mix of people who are involved, we start to think about how we work. And this is a really, really important part of MakeShift's approach, because we think that probably the most valuable contribution that we can make is to really, really pay attention to how we're working, to work in a values-led and a process-driven way rather than focusing on outputs, and to then really think about how we tell a story about the difference that shift in approach makes, how we measure that change, how we think about the different metrics and the different ways that we can kind of make visible the difference that it makes to work in a kind of process and values-led way compared to an output kind of led way. So there's a couple of blogs on our website that you can dive into that digs into this a little bit deeper. But yeah, that is a really important part of our approach. That how then shapes what we do. With designing things that help us be how we want to be. So our program is kind of shaped by the people and by our approaches. And that currently looks like three different work strands. So make, connect, and shift. And there we're looking at really creating more space for people to make and do what matters to them. We're looking to nurture stronger and deeper relationships and kind of strengthen the fabric of our place. And we're looking to shift as much power, resource, and ownership as possible to communities in the places that they care about. So through all of that mix of people who are involved, our kind of approach, and through our program, we start to see a series of outcomes that emerge over time. And those outcomes for us are structured in relation to the different contributions that people make. So firstly, we have this tier of outcomes that relate to people and the community maker kind of role. Then we have a series of outcomes that are more connected to the collaborators and the people who are working as alongside us. And then finally, we have this kind of third tier of outcomes, which are perhaps the ones that emerge most slowly and that require the most amount of time, that are connected more to that kind of systems level change and the changes that we might see in those kind of community allies and the behavior at kind of that level. So there we go, like through all of that, bringing together kind of our purpose, who's involved, how we work, what we do, and the difference we make, we kind of get back up to our full story of change, as you can see it on our kind of current website. So if you're kind of interested to find out more about that, you can head to our website. There's a blog all about our kind of approach to using stories of change if you're interested in what that might look like for you. There's also a blog, as I mentioned, that talks a little bit more about how we work and the kind of different principles and values that kind of underpin our approach. And yeah, we'd love to know what you think. Drop us an email, have a look on the website, and get in touch. Thanks for listening.